and welcome to another episode of the Basildon Council's official podcast, a podcast where you, our residents, get to find out about things happening in your borough that affect your everyday lives. I'm your host Ryan, and joining me today, I'm really pleased to say we have Andy Stead from Backside to Trackside. How are you, Andy?
I'm very well, Ryan. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for coming on today. So for the most part, the podcast, as sort of said in the intro, it's to let our residents know about things that are happening sort of in and around their borough that can affect their everyday lives. And I don't think we could probably find anything that does affect them so much as Backside to Trackside in terms of if we can get involved, how much it can have an effect on us. So I was hoping we could, take a couple of minutes just to sort of find out a little bit more about yourself. Who are we? Are we local, whatnot, and sort of who we are within Backside to Trackside.
Yeah, so I'm Andy. I am a local resident, Wickford born and bred.
Hey.
Yeah. So this county, this town, this place, it resonates with me a lot. My family are here. All of my friends and social life is here. It's a bit sad, really, sometimes. But so like I said, Wickford born and bred. Been in the health and fitness industry for nearly 10 years now. Been coaching for 22 years.
Wow.
So I started coaching a youth football team when I was 18, and I'm still doing that now. They're men, so so I'm involved with a local football club as well. But yeah, took the move into health and fitness as a profession in 2015. Mm-hmm. So started doing that as a personal trainer, working for Everyone Active.
Oh yeah,
over in Wickford, and then just before COVID or during COVID, took the transition and went out on my own. Got my own little studio in Wickford where I train my clients one-to-one. Mm-hmm. That's the predominant part of my business. But yeah, Backside to Trackside has been, and he's becoming, and hopefully will become, an even bigger part of my business and life. Got involved in that in 2019, and it started because it was an initiative that Basildon Council wanted to run to celebrate their 70th birthday. Okay, so I was asked by somebody that knew somebody kind of thing if I'd be willing to be involved in this health and fitness initiative, and there was no real plan as to what that looked like at the time. Everyone just had this idea: we want to put on this health and fitness piece as part of the celebrations. We don't really know anything else at the moment. We don't know what that looks like. We don't know what that's going to be. Let's have a discussion. So I got brought around the table with people from Everyone Active, with people from Basildon Council, and we sort of hashed out some ideas. The idea of a couch to 5k was floated around, and at the time there was a few people that were saying, okay, well look, we can just follow an app. There's couch to 5k apps out there, and everybody does them. They're quite popular.
Yeah, I've done it. It does. It's kind of handy. It works.
It's kind of handy. It works, and I'll get on later as to what the difference between what we do at Backside to Trackside and what couch to 5k is. But I guess part of the problem with couch to 5k is that it's individual. There's not really the group factor. There's not that accountability factor. There's no real sort of professional coaching, I guess, or guidance or accountability. So that's those were the sort of things that I was thinking about when that was mentioned. And also, I remember at the time sitting around a table with a few people, and I said, imagine, for me, somebody said, there's a program, deliver that. That's a little bit like if I was asked to be best man at someone's wedding and somebody else wrote the speech for me.
Right.
I'd want to write the speech myself.
Yeah.
So I said, look, I like the idea of the idea of couch to 5k, but can I write a program that I believe in? Not that I think there's anything wrong with couch to 5k. As you said, it works. But I just wanted to write something that was mine, that I could deliver, that I could have faith in, and that I, was passionate about delivering.
Yeah. And there's like a sense of ownership as well to that. Once you put your own name on that, you go, right, I'm seeing that through and it will work. And
it means so much.
Yeah, it means more. Yeah,
exactly. It means so much to you. It's come from here. So yeah, got involved, and we said, right, okay, well, look, this is what it's going to be. It's going to be a 9-week, health and fitness program. Each week's got a different theme to it. So we talk about all sorts of different things. We talk about motivation. We talk about hard work. We talk about strength training, stress management, sleep, meditation, all those kind of areas within health and fitness. And the culmination of the program is that the participants get to run a 5k at Basildon Sporting Village on the track, 12 and a half laps. They can bring their family to the event day. They get a medal at the end, and they can celebrate their successes with everybody, that's helped them along the way, whether that's, family members at home or friends or people they've met on the course as well. We've had a lot of that over the past where people have been, made new friends on the course.
Yeah.
But so and that first program in 2019 was it was interesting because I learned a lot as well from what I was delivering, and how I was delivering it. Such a variety of people took part.
Yeah.
I had people that were already runners.
Yeah.
People that were intermediate type runners, and people that had, couldn't even get around a track once on their first, week. So it was such a wide range of people.
I suppose with that, your PT experience, obviously generally you're going to work on a one-to-one basis. Each client's got different needs and wants and feels, but when they're there together as a collective, how do I manage different skill sets there and then, and we all get going? It must have been quite tricky.
Absolutely, yeah. When you're working one-on-one with somebody, you sort of put a different hat on each time somebody comes in. But when there's 30 people in a group, all with varying abilities, it is quite tricky. But we've all got things that are difficult about our jobs, and that's something that we do. So
you mentioned a couple of things like looking at motivation and other bits like that. So like what can people expect with it? So how does that sort of process work to get people who maybe, like you say, couldn't do a lap to do a 5K at the end? Sort of what's maybe there's some of the brief steps that you go through?
So week one, the theme is why.
Oh, okay.
So I'm a big believer in understanding your why. No matter whether, what's your why? Why are you here? Why do you do this? What do you enjoy about your job? And I'd ask everybody the same, or why do they want to save up for a new car? Why do they want to, move country? Or why is anything important to anybody? So I always ask people why. Why are you here? Why is now the right time? Why is this program the right program for you? Or what was it about it that kind of made you go, I'm going to go? And I always then make the joke about the fact that if it was because it's free, because it is free, it's free to participants,
yeah.
But if it's because it's free, then, you're probably not going to be here in 9 weeks. That's not a strong enough reason for people to want to carry on doing something. So I ask them to dig a little bit deeper, just to find those motivations, and it's quite eye-opening really, and it's really refreshing to see people and hear people open up a little bit about, why it is the right time for them to try and become healthier, become fitter.
Yeah.
Lots of different reasons. I'm not going to go into anything in depth now, but we've had such a wide variety of reasons. Obviously, in 2021, we had a lot of people saying similar things about COVID and lockdowns. They wanted to get back out, they wanted to meet people, they wanted to socialise again. Some people found it really difficult at the time as well to come back out and be within a group, so that was a challenge. You're speaking about the challenges, but that was a challenge to help people feel comfortable and at home in that environment after quite a scary period of time. So so we talk about why they're there, really important, and then we talk about their motivations and their goals. So I ask them to set goals. They set goals, they write them down, they put them in an envelope. I keep them, makes them tangible that way. They're real now. They're not just in their head. They're real goals. They exist.
You can be easier on yourself, can't you? When someone else is helping that accountability.
I say to people all the time when they're talking about setting goals, tell other people.
Yeah.
Tell your family, tell your friends, say that you've signed up for a 10K, say that you're going to do the marathon, say that you're, trying to lose weight, say that you're going to the gym, because people will keep you accountable. That they will sort of say, oh, how's the training going?
Yeah, how's it going?
How's this going? Yeah, and you've kind of committed to it then, where if you just keep it all in here, it's very easy to just skulk off and go, I won't bother then, but I get them to write that down, and it might not necessarily be to do with how quickly they want to do 5K. It might have something to do with, changing some habits. We don't just talk about outcome goals, we talk about behavioural goals as well. Are they going to change their behaviours when it comes to their sleep or their nutrition? Or, we had one lady, she came and she just moved to the country, just moved to the area. And she said, I've signed up to this program to make new friends. So we spoke about what kind of behaviours she'd have to exhibit to make new friends on this program. And we said, well, one of the things that would be really good is if you said hello to somebody different every week. And that way she can introduce herself to somebody different every week. And, you know, law of averages, she'll probably find somebody that she clicks with, and she'll make a new friend.
That's great.
So there's these behaviours and then the outcomes. Yeah. So, and we can't control outcomes sometimes. I had one lady in 2022, absolutely smashed the 9 weeks, done so well, really did great. She went from a non-runner to a runner. She was looking at a really good time. It was fantastic. 2 days before the event, she slipped down the stairs at home and broke her ankle. Oh, wow. So she couldn't actually run the event. So the point here was that by her setting behaviour goals, she got to the end, and she might not have done the 5K event, but she still felt like she achieved a lot because she changed so many behaviours.
Well, you've built up that really good momentum. You've built up those change of behaviours so that you can have your slip up and then still push past that. Whereas I suppose if that was to happen, maybe at the beginning we might think, that's it, that's fate, I'll not do it.
Yeah, or alternatively, if that still happened when it happened, but you hadn't focused on those behaviours and the success that you've achieved changing those behaviours and building new habits, if you'd only focused on the outcome of completing the 5K.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Then they could get to that and go, well, I didn't finish my outcome. Yeah. I didn't complete my 5K. I failed. But actually, when we look at it's the saying, isn't it? It's the journey, not the destination, that counts.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's that whole process that is important, not just this one moment at the end. That's the time where you get to kind of celebrate what you've achieved, not necessarily the pinnacle moment, you know?
No, that's fantastic. And one thing that, like, we've met with some other mental health groups on the podcast, and one thing that they're always really big advocates of is getting more active and just trying out something, and even something as simple, and we say it a lot, even something as simple as just go for a walk around the local park, or just walk to the shops, a bit of fresh air, a bit of, you know, just get good lungs and whatnot, and it's just better for you. You mentioned about how you had someone who joined who was new to the area and then got to meet people. How important is that you get that community spirit, you get to meet new people, and it can make us feel better as well?
So important, Ryan. We've had friendships blossom out of this based on healthy new habits. I mean, you know, what more could I ask for? You know, you've got people that are coming together, making new connections with the medium of exercise, and then continuing that for the rest of their lives. You know, I always like to say, I've got 9 weeks to make an impact, or the program's got 9 weeks to make an impact on these people's lives. I want it to last 9 decades, not just 9 weeks. I want it to something that they can carry on forever. So I'm not going to have much influence on them after 9 weeks, am I? So, personally. So those connections, that social connection, is really important. And I feel like that sense of belonging and that sense of community that we try and build up in that 9 weeks is super, super important. Because, you know, what I'm doing and what we're doing at Backside's Trackside in regards to the physical side of things, it's not rocket science. You know, if you gradually do a little bit more every week at your own pace, you'll get fitter and healthier, you know. But I feel like the community aspect of what we're doing, you know, the togetherness that we're trying to create, that is something special right there. And I've got people now that are still exercising together now after 2 or 3 years, after meeting on the program 2 or 3 years ago. And they say, you know, I've got my new best friend, you know, this is great. And you know, like you said, generally speaking, exercise just makes you feel better. You know, I'm not going to go into the science of it now, but it releases all different hormones that make you feel good, and you get out into nature as well. You know, we're very sort of stuck in this kind of city life, you know, concrete and windows and buildings and things like this. Once you get out and you see, you know, trees and grass and the sea, not that you're going to see much sea in that's in Sporting Village, but you know what, to be fair, the track's actually in a really nice little environment there. You know, you've got the trees and the birds and things, so it's actually a nice track there.
Plus box, lovely. You mentioned about that sort of that community aspect, and we've mentioned sort of Couch to 5K, not that we're having a go by any means, but no, I suppose if you know, Backside to Trackside has that X factor over it, it is that community thing, because like you said, when you kind of follow an app, it is just a self-contained lonely thing that you just crack on with yourself. Sure, bring a friend, but it's that community feel that, you know, you're making friends who then push you, and then after they've met you after 9 weeks, it'll be let's crack on, let's go out for a run and we can have a catch up, all things like that. So I suppose it's got that edge over it, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the Couch 5Ks are great, and they're so accessible, aren't they? You know, anybody can do them. You can pick it up, and you can get going. But lots of people do need that extra accountability. And when you might, so if you've got one or two friends that you're exercising with, you might not be up for doing something that day for no reason at all, really. Just sometimes people don't feel up for it, do they? But your friend might be. And they'll kind of motivate you, and you kind of go, okay, I'll go along with you. But then the next day, it might be your friend who's not motivated or, you know, up for doing anything, but you're kind of like, right, no, let's go. And you keep each other, you know, you keep each other going like that. So yeah, really important, that community feel and that togetherness.
It certainly does make it a little bit easier. So how long has it been going around for? So you say, is it 2019 we started? And
yeah,
we went through COVID as well, and we're still here. So how did you find after COVID? Did you find a lot of an influx of people wanting to try it out?
Yeah, so like I said, it started in 19 for the 70th anniversary of Basildon Town, and then we had to stop in 2020. We couldn't get the programme off the ground, and then, you know, a few of the guys at the council were really, you know, Basildon Council were really supportive of getting it back, and we got it back on track in 2021, and we delivered in 2021 in the summer, summer 2021. Went down really well, and it went down so well that that Basildon Council's very own Scott Logan was keen to do it.
Yes.
And a few other officers and people that work for Basildon Council. So we done it again later on that year, and then from that point it just kind of became something that, you know, between Basildon Council, myself, and everyone active, we said, look, we're going to do this. We're going to do this every year. We're gonna do it twice a year. We're going to have a spring, summer, and an autumn, winter intake. You know, there's different challenges with those 2 times a year as well. The spring, summer, it just gets warmer and hotter and brighter. And then the autumn, winter gets colder and wetter and darker. So we you know, we don't stop people coming back from doing it, you know, twice. So actually they do the spring, summer one, and then they come back and do the autumn, winter one. And actually, you know, there's, like I said, there's different challenges for them. So, but yeah, so when we came back after COVID, we saw there was a big influx of people saying about how, you know, they'd been lonely and this was perfect for them. But yeah, I think that what's happening, what we're seeing now is we're seeing people coming into the program, and they're bringing family members. You know, I've had plenty of, you know, parent and child combinations. I think the last program we had a mum, a dad, a son, and a daughter, and, you know,
That's great.
It's superb. Yeah. You know, generations exercising together is brilliant. Yeah, we've had all sorts of different people on there as well. So people with visual impairments, people with MS, people living with cancer. So we've had all sorts of different types of people coming along with different abilities. You know, it's fully inclusive. We had an ex-mayor that run the program once, and the late Luke McKenzie was a big supporter of our program. Came down and presented medals to everybody, you know, 2 or 3 years in a row. So, you know, it was very well supported, and still is very well supported. Where we're at now is, we all wanted it to grow. The people at Basildon Council, the people at Everyone Active, and myself, we all wanted it to grow. But I think what happened with the Basildon Council's involvement was they very much understood that it would be very difficult for it to grow out of the area with them still involved as they were. So, you know, Grant Taylor been really supportive of me in my sort of career, and over this Backside to Trackside, he kind of said, look, take it away, you know, go and knock it out of the park. So the idea now is that it's now my thing. Yeah. And it's now its own company. So we're looking to expand it across the county, potentially across the country.
Let's go.
Maybe across Europe, maybe across the world. The way I look at it, Ryan, is that, you know, we've got Basildon Sporting Village in the Basildon area, but in Essex alone, there's 14 tracks. For a majority of the time, they don't do much. They're dormant. You know, they're not used. I feel like that's a real shame. And not only that as well, that when they are used, they're only used by a very select amount of people. One of the things that people really like about our program is that it kind of bridges that gap between walking and running and park run, where people would like to maybe go and do park run. They either A, can't already do 5k, or B, don't really want to do it in the park. You know, Northland's park run, great park run, but there's hills in there that are really hilly, you know. I've had a lot of people say, I like the track, I like the fact that it's flat, and it gives them that confidence, it builds that confidence so that they can then go on to do things like park run. One of the guys that did our program in 2019 has gone on to do over 100 park runs and volunteer at, you know, Northlands and Lake Meadows and places like that himself. So he's, you know, gone from being a non-runner to being a runner to being a volunteer at running events. So there is a progression there that's, you know, feeding back into that system. And we're hoping that with this expansion, we can continue to feed back into that system, you know, and sort of we're the beginning of the chain for people to get their backside to the trackside.
Yeah. And it's clearly a success. So and apologies because I'm going to read off screen here, but we had we've had quite a few council employees sort of try it out, and it clearly works because I asked around and asked for some feedback on how they found it, and one person came back to us and said that it totally changed their life. And then now they have an addiction for trainers, so running shoes.
Hopefully they're wearing them, not just keeping them in their cupboard.
But they saw that they'd seen an ad for Backside to Trackside, hadn't really paid much attention to it, but they thought I'd give it a go, and they enjoyed it so much. It absolutely changed the way they look at things. It changed the mentality, everything. That community feel to it really improved the way they sort of went about it. And then they went on their first park run, and they've now done 67 more since then, and has got their PB and they're smashing it, and they continue to run now afterwards. So it clearly works, and for them, they said it absolutely changed their life. So, I mean, it can't get better praise than that, I suppose. So it evidently works. If anyone who's listening thinks, I don't know, and like you said, 9 weeks and then sort of that, it is that laying that foundation. You're going to learn some things that's going to help you change your mindset to the point where you could go on and do 100 plus or 60 or so extra park runs every sort of Saturday and just completely change the way you look at it. It's going to be good, isn't it?
For sure. Yeah, there's so much scope. You know, we've had people, you know, go on to do X amount of park runs. We've had people go on to do 10Ks. We've had people go on to do marathons. Just last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, we had 2 people that done a program in 23, complete London Marathon. Week before that, we had somebody complete Brighton Marathon that completed the program last year. We've had people go on to do things that are nothing to do with running. People start pickleball at the sporting village. People start playing badminton, jiu-jitsu, you know, join walking groups. So it doesn't have to be, you don't have to go from running 5k to running 10k to running a marathon. You can take up all sorts of different things, but like, you know, the person that you are said, it's changed their outlook on things, and that's what we want to do. That's what I was saying about trying to make it last more than just 9 weeks.
And who can join it? Who's this for? Is it for anyone of any ability?
Absolutely anybody. We take people from 11 up. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we have literally had people that can't do a lap of Basildon Sporting Village tracks. That's 400 metres. They can't move over 400 metres in week 1, and they've gone from that to then being able to do 12 and a half laps at the end. Maybe not necessarily in record time, but they've been able to do it. They've been able to push themselves and understand their body enough to be able to get them over that distance. We've had people that can already run 5k in 29 minutes and decide that they want to come and use the track because it's a facility that they've never used before. You know, they're doing park runs or they're doing other things. And we've had everything else in between, all different ages. We've had, you know, I think the oldest person we had was 78.
Wow.
That completed the course.
That's brilliant.
So yeah, we've had a wide range of people, a wide range of abilities take part from all different walks of life. And yeah, so I just encourage everybody to give it a go, and the more of a success we can make it, you know, the better. And I think to give people the access to that kind of facility, the kind of training and advice that they're going to get for free.
Yeah, and I stress that it is a free
it
thing.
Is free. It is free, yeah. So it doesn't cost the participants anything, you know, and I think that is, you know, goes a long way these days with the cost of living and the sort of expense of everything. You know, it's proved that it's a huge barrier to people's lifestyles, healthy lifestyles, you know, cost.
So people that are watching this and they're sort of leaning in a bit more, like how can they get involved? Has it started yet? How can people find it? How do we do it?
So depending on when this podcast goes out, which is down to you, Ryan, then the program will either have just started or just about to start. So it won't be too late. Yeah, we're starting in a very shortly. Okay, so yeah, it's just about to start. It's not too late to join. All right. If you go on Facebook, if you're on Facebook, of course, and search up Backside 2, so that's TO, not 2 the number, Backside 2 Trackside CIC. That's our page. You can jump on there. We've got our booking form on there that you can go onto and book onto it, like I say, absolutely free. You can email me directly if you want. It's a.stead@backsidetotrackside.co.uk, and I can help you book onto the form there. You can pop into any number of pharmacists or doctor's surgeries or coffee shops that I've put flyers into and try and grab a flyer and scan the QR code. Obviously, if you want to know more about it, you can go to Basildon Sporting Village, which is where it's being held, and hopefully the guys there will be able to help you, at least direct you in the right direction. But yeah, if not, I'm sure they can get in touch with you, Ryan, and you can point them towards me.
Yes, so there will of course be links down below under the video where you can check a lot of those out. Well, it sounds fantastic, and I really hope that this year's intake is as good as everything other, and it does continue to grow and get better. And I hope the next time I see you, it'll be like, oh, this one was fantastic. It was really, really good. So yeah. Excellent. Well, good luck with it all. Thank you very much for coming in today. I really do appreciate you coming in to spend your time with me and talking about Backside Trackside.
No problem. Thank you, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do let us know. If you have any suggestions for anyone you'd like us to talk about, please do drop them down in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.